Working man bodybuilding exercise selection. No matter what kind of workout you do, whether it be full body workout, 2 day split, you're going to have compound exercise and isolation exercises. Compounds are multi joint, isolation is a single joint, usually. A multi joint exercise or compound exercise is going to incorporate more than one muscle, but it's going to have a primary driver, like the chest. A bench press is going to predominantly hit the chest, but it's going to hit the front delts and the triceps as well. A isolation exercise or a single joint exercise is only going to hit predominantly one muscle. So a triceps push down, a V-bar extension, however you want to say it, overhead extension, it's going to hit primarily the triceps. You're going to incorporate those in both exercises, in both workouts. So say if you're doing a full body workout, well, you want to do one for the legs at least. I'd say one kind of compound exercise for the legs, whether it be a squat, which is a knee flex and compound, or a hip extension compound, which hits the hamstrings and the glutes predominantly, like a RDL or a deadlift of some sort. And being that the stimulus to fatigue ratio is so high, being able to hit that, and you'll hit the legs pretty hard if you're doing it with sufficient amount of intensity. And they draw so much out of the body, unless you're bare bones new, and even if you're bare bones new, I recommend to do legs later in the workout, because if you're doing full body, I say do it close to last, because by the time you do it first in the workout, it's going to drain you. I have above average legs, so take that however you like. But when I do full body workouts, or if I do full body workouts, I always do it either last or second to last, give or take. If I'm doing something like abs or calves or something like that, I'll do it right out before I do that. So, but do all your other compounds and isolation work before that. So you'll have a horizontal press, works the chest, the front delts, the triceps, like we said, like the bench press, or even a dip, if you want a machine press. A row type exercise is a horizontal retraction of the shoulders, hits the lats, the traps, the rear delts, the biceps a little bit. I do a specific row. The way I got it set up, it's almost like a sitting upright row in a way. I do it for my delts, go from my side delts and my rear delts, and obviously like it hits the lower and mid traps and the biceps, because I do it with underhand grip. But that's just the way I seat it. But predominantly, most of them are going to hit those areas, almost like the opposite of a horizontal press. A vertical pull will hit the lats, the front, the biceps, and the rear delts a little bit. You'll get a little bit of mid to lower trap with it, but it depends on what area you pull from. If you're pulling complete vertical, you won't get as much. But if you do like a hammer strength pull down, you're going to pull here. You're going to get more scapular traction out of it instead of spinal extension. So there's going to be less lats. If the lats are hit, I'm saying it's going to be you'll get more the more you bring it down. You'll be more, you won't get as much stretch on the lats, but you'll be able to get that pull, and it'll bring in some of the upper back into it just a little bit too, because the angle is kind of like at a 60 to 45 degrees, somewhere around in there. Some people, this is debatable, think you need to do a vertical push. I'm one of those people that do not believe you need to do that, because I'm very front delt dominant, and I've never really got any good benefits out of overhead pressing, besides overdeveloped front delts. You might get something out of it. If you do it with a dumbbell. There's been guys that do it with a single arm, one arm dumbbell press. Those are pretty good. I don't really recommend doing a barbell press. This is all for aesthetics and bodybuilding purposes. You can do a machine press. I personally don't overhead press anymore. I have no need for it, and it would even more skew my physique in the wrong way. After you get the horizontal press, the horizontal pull, the vertical pull, and in place of that, maybe do something. You could do another press. You could do like an incline press. You could do a dip or something like that. but you don't get the front delts overly developed. You do enough volume on that, the back has a complexity of muscles compared to the chest. Like I said, this is one workout. You can do incline press one workout, and you can do flat press or decline press the other. However you want. I'm not setting up a workout here. I'm just giving you the selection. And then you do an isolation exercise for your lateral deltoid, your rear delts, because those are probably the most underdeveloped part of anybody's physique. And I don't think the compounds do enough justice to them. Enough rolling, enough vertical pulling is not going to hit the rear delts enough. It's just, in my experience, what I've learned, it's just not. And you get to have that little bit of a cathartic posture, or you just have bad looking delts. And I'm still trying to bring mine up to match. But again, I'm trying to get on stage. So your isolation work, rear delts, lateral delts, like a lateral raise of some sort or a lateral raise machine. One for the biceps, one for the triceps. So a curl for the biceps, a push down or an overhead press, whether it be a skull crusher or V-bar overhead extension, somewhere like that, to where you get the long head incorporated in there. It's not overly important unless you're competing, but if you're, remember, you're trying to make the most of the time you got. So one exercise per body part, pick the right one. You can alternate one from one workout to the other, unless you're doing a 2-day split. I would say one for the forearms and the calves. The calves need their work. You can jump rope, and it'll get you a little bit of stimulus, but you won't be able to overload it. But if you have good genetic calves, you can get away with it. But some kind of direct calf work, some kind of direct forearm work. Do something like that. I'll work my neck, but that's because I've had cervical spine issues in the past and pain, and now it doesn't bother me. So it also ties into my traps going down, that type of thing. And it's been a blessing. So it keeps that. But it depends on how much time you got and you're willing to commit to it. Remember, this is for the working man. Somebody that claims they don't have a lot of time, but also too doesn't sleep well, has a very tight schedule and stuff. So you want to do the minimum for everything, in the sense of being able to stimulate growth, do a minimum effective dose, stimulate growth, get out, let it recover, super compensate to get the growth, go back in there and do it again. It's 1 or 2 workouts a week, maybe even 3 earlier on if you have the time and you don't get that sore and you're that committed. Any more than that, I wouldn't really throw these videos towards that type of person who wants to do 4 or more. I mean, they can take something off of it. You can double up and do that, but that's a whole other video. This is for the least amount of effectiveness for all the major muscle groups. I would do something like that. And then tailor it in a way where you don't get as little overlap. Like me, I got elbow issues. So I get indirect arm work on my torso day, from tricep and bicep, from pressing and pulling, but I also get direct tricep and bicep work on my limbs day by hitting them first in my workout, because they're a weak point for me. I have long arms. I do direct forearm work on that day. I do side delts or lateral deltoids and posterior deltoids both days, because they heal up quickly and I want to bring those areas up enough. So in a way, my workout's balanced. Even though I'm doing torso I'm doing torso on one workout, limbs the other workout, I'm hitting everything in a week in a way that's going to bring my physique up because of my priorities and my goals. Yours might be different. If you're somebody starting off new, hit one exercise for all the major groups, let it recover, do it again. The selection, you can use dumbbells, you can use barbells. Me personally, if you're going to push to failure and you train by yourself, you can use a Smith machine or use machines. If you don't care how much you bench or how much you deadlift or squat, and you're not doing those anyway because you're doing it for an aesthetic look and not for a strength aspect, it shouldn't matter to you. I use pretty much all machines except for dumbbell lateral raises and dumbbell forearm work, because I've had issues with doing cables on those and the way progression was. So I lock in, I push for progress, I track it, I try to beat my workout from week to week. That's what I do. That's what you need to do. All that little stuff doesn't matter if you're making progress. Just pick the right exercises per muscle group, progressively overload, track it, Try to beat it every week and you'll progress. If you're eating enough along with it and sleeping enough, your hormones are good, and you're living a stress-free life as much as possible for a working man. That's my recommendations, and that's what I try to implement on myself as much as possible. I rather train less, hit everything, make progress, than try to go in there and force, and it's not even across the board for my goals and my physique, and get a distorted looking physique because I didn't put the emphasis like I needed to, and just been a little bit more patient with my workouts. You don't have to hit every single muscle group in a workout. You hit all the major ones, but if you do overhead tricep extension one workout and you do V-bar push down the next workout, you're still hitting your triceps pretty effectively doing those too. Without really putting a lot of pressure on your elbows, because stuff like that can happen. That's the most important thing, is you want to do this over time without making your injuries worse. Take that in consideration. If you got any questions, comments, leave them in the bottom and use some common sense. If you don't choose an exercise or do anything due to being dogmatic or being somebody else, pick exercise that work for you, but also don't stray away from the hard exercise. The hard exercises will challenge you, especially the compounds. You got to do compound exercises, but not to the extent, if you're trying to build an aesthetic physique, the isolation work is just as important. It has been, in my opinion, in my experience too, because of my way my body makeup is. Like I said, my long limbs and especially my upper body, my legs build pretty quickly, so I don't have to do as much lower body work. But my upper body work, I have to do more isolation work to bring it up. It wasn't until I started doing direct rear delt work and direct forearm work and really focusing on my triceps as a priority that I was able to bring these areas up. They're still behind, but I'm still bringing them up. I can't rely on just a compound exercise to do it. So they're both important. And what you use it what's best for you so you can make that progress, and don't just do it because somebody else does it. It's that simple.